Morning, everybody. Video 3 in the saga. The sore back saga continues. Today is Wednesday, and tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going in at 7 a.m. in the morning. Look at the big tired head in me here, but I'm going in at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for the surgery. I don't think the surgery itself will be at 7, but I am being admitted to the hospital at 7 a.m. I was in the hospital yesterday. I had to go to the ER department in the hospital to get some pre-test scans done. And I've never seen a hospital so quiet in my life. The place was empty. I had to get some bloods done. I had to get blood pressure, temperature. I had to get the COVID swab test. And here, I haven't shut up about that since it happened. Oh my God, that is rough. Talk about deep. If the swab was any longer, as my dad would say, it'd be late. Absolutely tickled the brain off me, but sure, look, so I guess I have to go through all of that yesterday, which is kind of handy that they get all that out of the way. It's nice to know that you're going into the hospital and nobody in there is fucking suffering with the virus, I hope. And yeah, another strange thing that happened to me in this situation was my treatment was delayed for a long time, and my diagnosis has been delayed for a long time because of the coronavirus situation. And I was personally feeling, obviously it's no one's fault and this is a pretty selfish outlook, but I was feeling very hard done by the situation. And I was hearing everyone saying, "No, I'm so bored sitting at home." And I'm going, Jesus, you're bored sitting at home. My life is on hold here. My pain is constant. I feel there's nothing I can do about it because of this coronavirus. So I felt I was getting absolutely ridden around by the situation in the hospitals, and with the lockdown I couldn't visit a physio or I couldn't visit a doctor or anything like this. And then the situation in Ireland, for those that aren't aware, is that all of the private hospitals have basically been, excuse my uninformed description of this here, but all the private hospitals have basically been rented by the government, so that in the event that the coronavirus situation did get out of control, that there was going to be enough beds and enough spaces, or as many beds and as many spaces as possible available to treat patients. And with that, a lot of people initially had their surgeries or their treatments cancelled, and I've seen some sad stories shared online about like people that were basically denied or had treatment postponed on them that was for like a serious illness. So with that in mind, I was going, all right, look, I'm in bad pain every day, but look, there's people that have fucking cancer and whatnot that need to be seen to in this situation. So it was what it was, but I have basically found myself in a situation now where I don't know if I'm classed as an emergency case or whatever, but I was offered a theatre time tomorrow, Thursday, in the given situation. I'm somebody that did not have health insurance, and if I went on the public system, I would have been waiting years for this. I'm lucky enough that I had a little bit of money in the bank that I was able to set aside to try to pay for this surgery myself. And now I found out it's completely free. So because of the situation in the hospitals, private patients are allowed to be treated by private doctors in certain cases as a public patient. So the government of the HSE basically here in Ireland is going to pay for that. So I've saved a few €1,000 here, which is about the first bit of luck that I've had. Now I'm cautious to jump all over that because, you know, in a situation like this, finances shouldn't be my main concern. Again, I was lucky enough that I did have enough in the bank to be able to cover it. But if I didn't have the insurance and I didn't have that little bit in the bank, I would have been goosed. But yeah, here I am now, free surgery on the horizon tomorrow. In a hospital that's very, very quiet, from what I hope is a surgeon that is not worked off his feet. It's a very strange situation to have been plopped into. I had a consultation yesterday, like a Zoom consultation with a physio and a physical therapist who I hadn't connected with yet. I was only recommended him in the last few weeks. David Gray was his name. He's based here in Ireland somewhere. I literally only looked him up on Instagram and sent him an email, but he seems to be very qualified and very knowledgeable, and he shared some insights with me only yesterday that it has been 6 months of pain here for me, and nobody really suggested these. Well, maybe they did suggest them. I don't want to be, I'm not trying to put anybody I'm not trying to throw anyone in front of the bus. He never told me about this. But he was asking me about my breathing. He was asking me about stress in my life. And like I mentioned in a previous video, I had a death in the family, and I had a long-term relationship kind of break up very, very quickly and unexpectedly. I'm running my own business. You have money troubles, you have paying bills, you have stress of daily life. I'm training every day, so there's physical stress there as well, and a lot to keep up with. So he's asking me about that. He's asking me about breathing. I'm doing some breathing exercises with him that nobody had really shared with me before. And then he's even going as far as to talk about the shoes. I'm somebody that's worn for the last 8 years like a barefoot style of shoe, like a Vivo barefoot is pretty much what I've been wearing exclusively for the last while. And my reasoning for this is that this is a more natural position for your foot. I do jiu-jitsu, which is a barefoot sport, so it's in my interest to have a foot that's capable and yada yada yada. But his argument to me yesterday, which makes so much sense, is that yes, these shoes are great, but your body is not great, you know, especially at the moment. There was a time where Vivos were probably fantastic for me, but then as my situation in my sciatic and my lower back progressed, certainly over the last few months, he's saying they're the absolute wrong shoes for you. And he's asking me on the call yesterday, hey, do you have a pair of, you know, Nike running shoes or Asics or New Balance, something with a bit of a support and a heel? It's like, I actually didn't have any. The only shoes that I have are these barefoot shoes. So I had to go online. Like, I'm willing to try anything. This is the position I'm in. Is, you know me, if you do know me, going on about these barefoot shoes and a minimal approach and talking about the perils of arch supports and a big heel and stuff over the years. I still believe this is the case for a lot of people, but apparently not for myself. So that's something that I'm willing to change, and that shows the position that I'm in. Is like I'm literally chopping and changing huge portions of my lifestyle at the drop of a hat here in order to try to fix this. This is so important to me. You know, if somebody said to me, hey, you have to dye your hair pink to fix, I'd straight away, where'd you get the pink hair dye? You know, hey, you have to knock out one of your front teeth. Give me the hammer. Get me down to the dentist. As I'm sure anyone that has suffered with chronic pain, and look, here's me 6 months. I'm sure there's people out there years suffering with this. But if you've suffered with chronic pain for so long, you know it is literally maddening to the point of any solution will do the job for me. But yeah, here I am, free surgery on the cards tomorrow. I learned some things yesterday that I wish I probably had learned 6 months ago. Would have been interested to approach this from the start with maybe some knowledge about my feet, a little bit more knowledge about my feet, and maybe a better approach to stress and training. I guess absolutely looking back, I have a very, very stressful couple of years, but I still have an enjoyable life. I'm somebody who teaches jiu-jitsu as a job. I work with my friends and my family, and I spend a lot of time with my friends every week, every day. I'm living with a group of my very close friends now as well. So I'm somebody that has a very easy and happy life. And I guess that always doesn't balance out the stresses, you know. Like, I would have just focused on all of the good things as opposed to maybe dealing with the bad things a little bit better. So it's been a huge learning experience for me, physically, and now lately mentally as well. I'm hopefully going to have a new approach going forward in both of those areas. I'm a little bit scared about going in tomorrow. I'm in at, like I said, 7 a.m. I've never had a surgery. I had a surgery actually when I was 16 on ingrown toenail from playing too much football. Football boots I was wearing weren't great, apparently. Ingrown toenail on my left foot, and I had to get general anesthetic, and they removed the whole thing. So that's the only time in my life 15 years ago that I had a situation like this. And I don't even know what I'm worrying about. Typically I go to the doctor or the physio or something like this for a pain or a treatment, and the treatment itself kind of brings some pain. Maybe you go to a physio or a physical therapist, and he's digging into you all day to try to relieve a bit of muscle, and there's a bit of nerves and anticipation about going there. Or maybe you go to the doctor and you're nervous because of a diagnosis. You have a pain in your private parts, and you're googling it, and it says you're going to die basically, and you don't want to go to the doctor because you're scared. This is, I'm sure, a lot of people. You don't want to go to the doctor because of fear of the diagnosis. But I already know my diagnosis. I already know exactly what I'm going to go in for. There's going to be no surprises, hopefully. But I'm still naturally, I guess, a little bit apprehensive and a little bit nervous. But I don't even necessarily know what about. I haven't really been able to pin it down. I think it's just the overall process and the unfamiliarity of it all. There's a local celebrity just getting a few waves from the neighbours. But yeah, I think there's a combination of things that I'm nervous about somewhere subconsciously, but like I said, I wouldn't be able to put them down on paper very easily. Even tomorrow is going to be a huge learning experience for me. This is so obvious, right? But here's me, someone who's scared of going in. These doctors' jobs is to look after people. The nurse and the staff in the hospital, their job, and for a lot of them, they might even feel their calling in life is to look after people. So I'm going to be so well looked after tomorrow. I hope everybody's going to be very nice to me, and I'm going to be very nice to them. I hope it's quick and it's painless. I'm fit and I'm healthy. I don't think the anesthetic or anything like that is going to have any adverse effects on me. I hope not. I'm not worried about, apparently you get a little bit of localized pain around the incision site after the surgery, but I'm not worried about that. That'd want to be some serious pain for it to be worse than the situation that I'm in now. So basically anything is a plus. Like I said, I'd knock out a couple of the teeth. Chap just parking in the middle of the road here. I'd knock out a couple of the teeth in order to give myself a break. So strange position to be in. But yeah, that's me. I'm actually walking now to the local shops here. I need to try to get myself like a dressing gown or a bathrobe. I'm not sure if I'm going to be staying in the hospital for a couple of nights, and they said, make sure, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be staying there at all. I might get to go home that day, but on the off chance I have to stay a night or two, they said you got to bring like slippers and like a dressing gown, and I don't even have slippers and a dressing gown, so interesting one for me. But yeah, so going around to try to scoop these now. I'm going to try to do a little bit of cleaning that I need to do, and do as much of my laundry and my washing and stuff today as possible, so that I can take it easy over the next few days. I understand from reading online that one of the things I will be recommended to do as soon as possible is some small walks regularly throughout the day. I'm looking forward to this. I believe you don't want the scar tissue to heal in a way that's going to impede your stride or your walking or whatever, and that little bit of movement is, I'm sure, good. And I've been walking with pain for a long time, so I'm not necessarily worried or nervous about that. So yeah, that'll be me for the next few days. A few walks every day. I believe some people get like a brace for their lower back to remind them not to bend over and stuff, but like I said, I've been in this for 6 months. I have so many mental cues now not to bend over anyway that I don't think I'm going to be in that position. Same with a twist. I think I'm going to be fine. I'm looking forward to seeing how I recover. I'm hopeful that my sleep is going to improve. I've only been getting 5 hours, sometimes even less sleep every night because of the condition, which obviously isn't good for the condition, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword there. So I'm hopeful that that's going to improve. I'm sure I'm going to be on a number of different medications for the first while, which will probably help as well. So yeah, exciting times. That's me tomorrow. I guess I'll send a little vid, or I'll make a little post somewhere either before tomorrow, depending on how long I'm waiting, or maybe afterwards. Well, certainly afterwards at some stage. And I look forward to that. Wish me luck.